And how do I pronounce your last name?
Forteau.
Porto. So fancy.
Oh,
Is it French?
it is.
Oh, okay. Are you from France?
No, no, from the French
Oh,
West Indies, my grandparents.
oh, okay. Well, it's a nice last name. So thanks for joining me. We are going to be posting this on YouTube, so I'm super excited to let those who are currently subscribed to my channel and those that are coming to meet us are going to learn more about you and what you do. You and I originally connected on LinkedIn,
Yep.
and what actually caught my eye was the name of your book. And so it's a really great title. What is it? No More Cringe?
Indeed, yes.
Yes. So I saw the title of your book and then I was like, what is this guy talking about? Let me see. And then I was like, oh, I totally get it because I'm, marketing my business. I try my hardest, when I send messages out and when I do these things, not to send anything that might make people go, ooh. So, well, let's just dive right into it because I want everyone to hear about your book, a little bit about your story, and how, what actually motivated you to write this book. And so, can you start with a little bit of your background and then move into the book?
Sure, sure. I've been a marketing consultant for small to medium-sized businesses for about a little over 30 years. And as over the last, I'd say 20 years, I started doing more email type things,
Mhm.
specializing in that and email deliverability the last 5 years. But I've been on LinkedIn, I think, since 1906, I believe. Not dabbling mostly, but I found that a lot of my business was coming from LinkedIn over the past few years. So I really started to focus on that. Plus, I do work with some LinkedIn experts. They bring me in mostly to help them with their email marketing. A lot of people don't realize that LinkedIn is really good for building a list, but email is better for closing business on that list. So a lot of the experts will they'll talk about how to build an audience on LinkedIn and how to sell on LinkedIn. But what they're doing in the background is they're selling using email. So they brought me in to help them fix their email problems, and I'd have a chance to look at how they ran their LinkedIn business. And there are some things that I suggested to them that they just weren't interested in. And part of it was the communication that they'd have in DM with people that I just felt was cringy, to put it mildly. It was things that I knew that we could not do in email that they were doing in LinkedIn. And I go, this doesn't work in email. It repels people. I'm sure it has the exact same result in DMs on LinkedIn, and it does. I did 4 different posts asking people about what they thought about being pitched in DM on LinkedIn. And the results were very emotional. People, 80% of the people just hated it. All
Yeah.
different forms of it. The pitch slapping, the do-gooders that will send you special reports and other things to help you. Talking about collaboration, where in their mind collaboration is I'm going to sell you my stuff to help you get more business. That's really not
Yeah.
collaboration at all. So we had that going on, and then on the other end, the clients that I work with, many of them would hire me to help them with lead generation, more it's client acquisition than lead generation, and they were depending on networking and referrals, like most professional service providers. 80% of the business usually comes from networking and referrals. And
Yeah.
eventually that starts to dry up. It dries up for everybody. So they were trying things that we help people with. A lot of people would come to us for that. I told them, like, I know that you came to us for this. Usually it was cold email. Some people were doing direct mail, which we've done quite a bit before, SEO, running Facebook ads, um, sending DMs. And all of those are really low probability client acquisition methods. For example, if you're really, really good at cold email, I mean, really, really good, you'll get one appointment for every 200, not emails, but 200 prospects you send emails to. So you send a sequence of, say, 3 emails. So 600 emails, you're going to get one appointment. If you're good, that's that's a bad success rate. That's a 0.5%. If you're sending DMs, it's 1 in every 400. That's a 0.25% success rate. It's crazy to do that stuff.
Yeah.
My wife looks at it and she says, why would anyone do this? I go, because they don't know of anything else to do. Whereas
Yeah.
we worked on expanding what they do well, and it's networking and referrals in a warm network, and showing them a way to build their warm network so that they wouldn't run out of people to talk to.
That's so great. Now, speaking of the DMs versus the emails, another reason why your book caught my eye is because I recently invested almost 10 grand on an email campaign setup thing with a marketing company. I won't say their name, that they're actually great people, and they had been doing this for a really long time. And they wrote the copy, they grabbed my LinkedIn contacts, and they, I had to approve the copy, and I was like, wow, that just doesn't sound like me, and I wasn't, but I said, okay, I have to trust the process, because they're the pros,
Mhm.
and I'm going to let them do their thing. So I kind of had a little bit of pushback, but not, I was okay, got to trust the process. So I did, and like 6 months into it, I had 0 leads. And I actually turned it off because I felt like the emails were so cringe. Like it almost, like when I would look back at the email, I'd say, if I received this, it would go in the trash. So and it's sad because it's not like the email said anything wrong or bad, but they're just very basic, but it's the same script that you get from everyone, right? So I said, first of all, I'm in a really tough market. I'm reaching out to hospital CEOs who don't have time. So, my success has been on LinkedIn, and that's literally networking with them, not asking for anything. And when I have asked, I actually haven't like went around, what do they say? Don't go around the bush. Like, I just straight said, hey, do you need me to do that for you? I could do it for you. And they go, sure. You get lucky sometimes. It doesn't happen all the time. But I gotta say that the email thing was, I'm still baffled by it. And so that's why I actually wanted you on this call. I think so many people have probably invested in marketing companies to do things like I have, and they're left with the 0 return, right? So what are your suggestions for someone like me who has already hired a marketing team and then found no success? Like, what would you say to me in regards to what I would need to tweak, or what are, I would say, what's like the email etiquette to even get some people to respond? Like, for me to even hit those numbers that you mentioned, you mentioned, what was it? 1 in
1 in 200.
200.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. So how do I get there?
It's tough. It's becoming more and more difficult now to do that. In fact, I discourage clients from trying to do cold email campaigns just because it really is hard. First of all, there's nothing harder than turning cold traffic into business. Absolutely nothing harder in marketing than to do that. And you have to come into that understanding that part. Your experience is really no different than most people. The average agency keeps their client for less than 2 months. Now they're on they sign people up for a 3-month contract, and most people break the contract before they get to 3 months.
Wow.
Reason why we
Excuse
know
me.
this is because we've worked with so many agencies. They bring us in,
Wow.
help fix their email problems. When the emails aren't
Oh,
getting delivered, they're not going to get paid. So they bring us in to fix the email deliverability problems for their clients. And we've worked with the largest digital agency in North America, one of the largest digital agencies in France. We've worked with a lot of medium-sized digital agencies. They all have the exact same problem. Um,
wow.
and part of the problem is that even if they book an appointment for you, there's expectations on both sides. On your end,
Yeah.
they're looking to close business. On the other end, they're looking for a couple of different things. Number one, if they are actually in the market, they're also looking at other people, and they're
Yeah.
comparing what they know to what you're telling them. They're going to basically, they're just trying to get information. They may have already decided who they're going to work with, and they're going to take that information, take it to the other person they've decided to work with, and use it there. Or they're desperate. And desperate clients are the absolute worst clients to work with. If you think that it's going to be a long-term relationship, it's not. They're going to be second guessing everything you do. They're going to want things done faster than they should be done. So they're going to force you into mistakes and then blame you for the mistakes that you made.
Mm.
A better way, which you found, is to go the route of LinkedIn, but not follow the advice that most people give on LinkedIn. It's the same thing that you're doing. Instead of trying to close business, we're making friends along the way. It's a mindset shift that you have to make, where I'm just trying to make friends. I'm not trying to close business today with this person. When you do that, you're far more relaxed in your approach. If you can get them to start looking at your content as some of the people did with you, and just talking to you about, you talk shop all the time. So you're talking shop, they're
Yeah.
comfortable with you, they trust you. And then the natural next step is to do business with you if they're confident in, they have confidence in you and your ability to do things. And once you get one piece of business from somebody, they tend to take the safe route and see if you can do other things for them, even if they're outside of your toolbox. They'll come to you first. Can you, Claudia, can you do this? Can you do that?
Yeah.
Maybe you can. You're honest. I haven't done that before. And
Yeah.
say, oh, that's okay. Well, we trust you. We believe you can do it. And that's a
Mm.
better way to do business than trying to go into the cold market and convince somebody that's never met you, never talked to you, to give you business. It is a hard sell.
Yeah, that is absolutely true because I actually started my business that way with um the doctors that I would, that I would actually started in marketing, but marketing looked very different back then. It was 15 years ago. I was doing door to door, right? So I was going out and marketing the physician's practice. And what would happen is because I built trust, then they would ask me, can you help me with this or that? And then I would say, well, I've never done it before, but I could take a look at it. And if I couldn't do it, then I would find somebody else for them to complete the task. And then that's how I ended up going from marketing into consulting into staffing, because one of the biggest asks was, can you find me somebody for this role? And so yeah, so exactly what you said, how it plays out when you build trust with a customer, then they will ask for, for more of your services. Again, if you can help them, you do. If you can't usually have a good person, good person in your network to refer to, which is great because they refer back. So it's a great ecosystem to have when you can build that trust.
Absolutely. It's the best way to build a business. A lot of people feel as if, and I don't know where this came from, in order to scale my business, I have to turn cold traffic into business. And that's just not true. You
Yeah.
can build a warm network. I'll give you an example. One of the things that we do, I talk a bit about this in the book, but this is an advanced technique. So with the strategic ally system or method that I talk about in the book, what we're looking to do is just make friends. So the first step in making a friend, let's say that you're posting on LinkedIn And I've done my research, and I believe that you have a problem that I can solve. Maybe it's client acquisition. So I'll reach out to you by engaging with your posts. I'll send you a connection request. And then when you reply to the connection request positively, I'll just say, great to connect with you. I'm not going to say anything other than that, or have a great week. That's about it. Now, the next thing I do is what I call a welcome package. So what I'll do is I'll look through your posts. I'll like maybe 3 of them. I may comment on one. I may go in and like 2 or 3, or upvote two or 3 of your skills. And what that's going to do is going to create different notifications in your notification area. So that's 3 likes, so that's 3 notifications. 1 comment, another notification. I tag you, that's even more important. I endorse 2 of your skills, so you get notified 2 more times. And I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait to see whether you look back at my profile. If you're curious enough to look at my profile. If you aren't, then you kind of don't care. If you do, then I'll go, okay, well, let's see if we can elevate our relationship. So I will continue to like and engage with your posts. And then at some point within maybe a week, maybe 10 days, maybe less, sometimes people reach out to me and they just start liking my post, just reciprocating what I'm doing. I'll ask you if you'd be open to supporting each other's content. It's almost an irresistible offer because I've already been doing it. And if you're a good person, if you believe in fairness, you'll agree to it. Most people do. So now you're what I call a work friend. We're engaging with each other's content. I'm saying nice things about you. You're saying nice things about me in your comments. And now I look at your first level people that you're connected. Now that we're connected, and which are my second level people, and I'm looking for people that are just like you, that I believe I can solve their problem. And I will connect with them, and I'll ask you. I said, Claudia, there's a couple of people that I realize that you're connected with. They're second level to me. Do you mind if I mention your name, that we're work partners? And you'll say, sure, that's fine. So I'll bring that up to them in the connection request. And about 80% of them will say, they'll agree to connect with me. What that does is it creates this loop. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to reach out to them. I could do the same thing I'm doing with you, but I'm going to wait, because when you engage with my content, whether you like it or you comment on it, because of the way the algorithm works, especially if it's a new connection, they're going to see that you liked my content. So it's going to show up in the notification. So you're endorsing me. You're saying all these great things about me. They know you. They know that they have the same problem that you have, and you're talking about how great I am about solving the problem that they have.
Yeah.
So it's a lot like somebody referring someone. For example, a friend of mine is another book author, and she said, I've got this guy who runs ads for me on Amazon, and I pay $350 a month, and I get $500 in book sales every month. So I was going to run ads on Amazon for my book. But why would I do that when she's got somebody that is making her money? It's hands off for her. So it's a referral. I'm trying to do it on my own, or hiring somebody else. I want to hire her guy. It's the same thing. It's a safe move on my part. So the same thing, if I'm seeing posts about somebody in my feed that you're liking and commenting, it's a safe move for me to ask you could you introduce me to this guy? But we're already connected. They would just reach out to me. It works that predictably every single time. No selling is involved on your end. You're working with friends, and you're supporting each other's content. It's just that easy.
That's amazing. But you're so dead on, because I feel like I've lived these things, and I've learned from doing it wrong, and I've learned from doing it right. And I mean, it works because you and I connected that way,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. That's why we're here.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's really cool. And it always, I think for me, I just started to write content on LinkedIn, and started to make a habit of it, where before I would post once in a while. And so I noticed that, in order for people to really you have to engage with their stuff as well. So I make sure that I'm doing, some engagement in the morning, and then I'll post, and then I'll, people reciprocate. And so it's really nice. But I'm still not quite there at your level, but I'm learning from you. So, well, I appreciate you sharing so much. I feel like you gave us a lot of great tips and a lot of things that we need to think about and evaluate how we connect with people. And so would you say that cold email is completely dead, or would you suggest people stop with the cold emails?
I would. And this is coming from a guy that for the last 5 years, we made a pretty good fixing cold email campaigns and running cold email campaigns for ourselves.
Wow.
It's a very, very tough thing to do. And there's a lot of people out there that make it seem way easier than it is. I'll say this, it's way easier to make a friend than it is to make a sale. And the approach that I use now is we're making friends, and it's very easy, and it's very scalable.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that's great advice. Of course, for someone who just, invested in cold email marketing, probably not, not too happy to hear that. But I totally trust you, especially because I saw how it didn't work. Now, really quick, before we jump off, I know we have just 5 more minutes, but when it comes to your contacts on LinkedIn, at what point do you actually put them on an email list and start sharing things with them through an email? So let's say you do have a book or a course or something that you want to share with them, and you really think that they would be the perfect person, for it. Do you still suggest that we email them as well? Or is that also not, I mean, that would be like a warm email, correct?
Yeah, I would also email them for sure. It would be
Okay.
permission based. So you always want to ask people if you could put them on your email list, and you don't want to say my newsletter. You want to say something like, I want to stay in touch with you. And as I come across information I thought you might be interested in, I can pass it along. Or if you have a podcast series, and I separate out my list, and there's a certain topic that you would want to be aware of, then you can go in and subscribe them to that part of your list, whatever that segment is. And then from there, you can expand them into other segments of your list. But if you do it with a permission-based type approach, then you can sell an email because you have their permission while maintaining a friendly relationship on LinkedIn. And it's a nice balance to have, and it works very,
Okay.
very well.
Okay. Okay, great. Yeah, I've had folks, most of those that have sold me on anything, it's been through the email. So, and usually I have been following them, on LinkedIn or other social media platforms or YouTube. And then when I get the email, then I already know that they have a lot of value to give. So I'm okay with purchasing, that course or the book or whatever it is that they're offering. So I do believe that most of the sales are done in the email, just from my experience.
From working with several LinkedIn experts, a couple of them very well known, I can tell you that that's where the bulk of their money is made. Uh, Keep in mind that people skim social media, they read emails. So they'll spend more time reading an email than they will a social media post.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know. That's good to know. Well, thank you, Ed, so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And can you tell us where we can find your book and who the book is for? So who did you write it for besides me?
The book is No More Cringe. You can find it on Amazon. You can also go to my LinkedIn profile and see the feature part there, which has a direct link to it. Now, the book is written for professional service providers. So people that are usually working with clients um, that are spending a fair amount of money with them. So they're high ticket sales. It's not really for low ticket sales because you have to actually develop relationships with people. And if you're selling something for $50 or $100, it's just not worth the time. But if you're selling stuff
Sure.
that you're making $1,000 a month from a client, then it absolutely is worth the time to go through this.
Oh, that's great. It's really good to know. I'll go ahead and also throw your links in the description underneath
Oh,
the
awesome.
video on the YouTube channel, so everyone can just grab them from there. Well, thank you, Ed. We got to do this again.
I'd love
And
to.
there's just so much to talk about. You have just so much wisdom behind you when it comes to marketing, so we can all soak it up. So thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you again soon, probably on
Absolutely.
LinkedIn.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks so
All
much,
right.
Claudia. I appreciate
Thank
being
you,
here.
Ed. Take care. Bye.